Democratic Voice, your community action program dedicated to bringing you the issues that impact America and concern Colorado. Brought to you every week at this time by the El Paso County Democratic Party, your voice in the future of Colorado Springs.
Good evening and welcome to the Democratic Voice. The views you hear this evening are not necessarily those of the Democratic Party, but of those people that are making the presentations. Thank you again for tuning in. Let's talk about news in the Democratic Party. Let's start off with what's coming up on 4th of May. That's next Saturday. We have our county assembly. That will be at Doherty High School at about 8:30 in the morning. So all of you that have been elected from your precincts, come on out. And if you're just general public, come on out and see how we in the Democratic Party operate. We certainly would invite you to come out and certainly would like to have you come on out and look at how the Democrats are doing things in El Paso County. We as Democrats are very, very proud to be Democrats, and we want all of you that's those unaffiliated voters, to come out and take a look at us. I think we stand for the same things when we're talking about what's best for the people of El Paso County. This morning, we have visiting with us from House District 17, a candidate for representative from House District 17, PM Wynn. PM, we're certainly glad to have you with us this morning.
Good morning.
And tell us about PM Wynn.
Well, PM Wynn is a native of Colorado Springs, born and raised, and an undying love for her community. That's who PM Wynn is. As well as I'm a mother of one, Genesis, he's 13. And currently I'm employed with Inroads Southern Colorado, which is a program for gifted minorities. It's an internship program. And on weekends, I'm a gospel announcer here in Colorado Springs. I've been doing that since Heck was a pup, Fred. Whoever Heck is. And that's a love very, very dear to my heart.
Gospel show. I didn't know
Yes.
you were into gospel. That's great.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, we can talk about this for a long time, but I know you're more important. It's more important to let the people know how you feel on political issues.
Yes.
When we're talking about political issues, you know, you're great too. I've heard all of those, and I'm really enthused about your candidacy. So let's talk about some of those this morning. But what station are you on? Let me get that out, plug for the station while we're out there.
Okay, I'm on Saturdays from 11 to 1, KCBR 1040 AM. If you want to hear some of the best gospel music, no, the best gospel music in Southern Colorado, that's where you should tune your radio dial on Saturday morning.
Whoop, enough commercials for today. Now, let's go on and talk about politics. PM, why have you decided to be a candidate for House District 17?
I decided to be a candidate once again for the main reason, my concern and care for the people in our community. Education's very important to me. Women's rights, everyone's rights are very important to me. And that is why my theme is leadership from the bottom up. Sometimes in the political structure, the people at the bottom feel like they're forgotten, and issues that affect their lives as well. And we want to remember everybody from the bottom up.
So your theme is leadership from the bottom up. Hey,
Yes.
That's tremendous, you know. We do. You know, oftentimes we at the bottom feel that nobody is listening to what we have to say. But, you know, that really strikes me. I'm really there with you. And you mentioned education, and I'm sure now that you said you had a son that's in our public schools. Could you expound a little on how you feel about education, what should be accomplished?
Yes, absolutely. Education is always very important, and we want to promote that with not just some kids, but all kids, and particularly the less fortunate young people. In our education system, for instance, Fred, we talk about the CSAP program. I think this is a wonderful program. The pitfall with CSAP, in many cases, if the children don't score well, it's kind of like the school and the teachers at that particular school are punished. That's the bad thing about CSAP, because that might not necessarily be the case. We must remember a lot of children that come from lower income homes, they may come to school that morning hungry and don't score well. That's not necessarily the teacher's fault. So that is one of the main pitfalls with CSAP, because what CSAP does in grading the young people, that's one thing, but if their mind isn't focused that particular morning when they come in, they're not going to do well no matter how well the teacher has prepared them for the testing.
Well, I see you're a politician right off because you said it was great and then cut it down bad. CSAP is a dog. Let's talk about it like it is now, PM. And when we're going out and we're grading schools because they have transient children coming
Yes.
and going, and we're giving them a grade that also cuts down on even real estate in the area
Yes.
because a school is getting failing grades. Now, we can do much more with CSAP than just give teachers or a school a passing grade. We got to look at where the children came into
Absolutely.
that class at, and when they graduate, how much did they learn in that year, not where they are at right now. How much did they
Absolutely.
learn in things? So you and I will have lots to talk about on the CSAP
Absolutely.
thing, but I think Raleigh Heath, our candidate for governor, has ideas that will take this forth. When we go forth and barring Bill is no longer in office, and we can have Raleigh Heath as governor, and you in House District 17 voting with the governor, we will have a change in the CSAP where it will be more accountable so we can use it as a tool to get better education for our children.
Absolutely. And you touched on the subject when schools' performance isn't well, that takes down the property value. This isn't fair at all. We have a lot of constituents in District 17 that don't even have children that are in school. Their children are grown, have completed college. So why should the property value go down for them simply because the grading of the CSAP was bad? Somehow that just doesn't seem fair.
It's not fair, it's not right, and we will change that. Not to talk about other things because CSAP really interests me and the education of our children, but when we talk about education, let's talk about transportation. Our state seems to be right now, I-25 is one gigantic parking lot.
Absolutely.
So what do you have in ideas, things that could change in transportation?
Well, transportation, Colorado Springs is no longer a little town. There are some people that have the mentality of let's keep it quote unquote small, similar to like the attitude for Boulder. And we can no longer do that. Colorado Springs has grown by leaps and bounds, and it will continue to grow by leaps and bounds. And I think that we do need to revisit the issue of some type of a trolley or transportation that shoots down I-25 connecting from Pueblo all the way up through to Boulder and Greeley. A lot of people and constituents in 17, they commute every day to Denver for work and Pueblo. Wouldn't it be great if they could just get on a nice little train that shoots down the highway and they're there in about 20 minutes?
Ooh, that would be some kind of great. Yes,
Not to mention the traffic that would be alleviated on I-25.
Not only alleviated, it would be stopped, right?
And we have to think about our winters, and I personally can attest to that. Commuting back and forth on I-25 is something I wouldn't wish on anyone. And with the cost of gas going up, down, if we had this trolley train or a speed train that shot down I-25 and there was a fee, a monthly pass that you could buy, it would eliminate a lot of the traffic congestion that we have on I-25. It would help our constituents to save in terms of transportation expenses that we have to put out every month, and not to mention we'd all be much happier and less upset by the time we reach our destination from the traffic on I-25.
Oh, yes, that would be tremendous. There's so many things to do on that. You know, along with that, House District 17, you have many retired families living there. You have young families living there. You have a general mixture of the young, the old, the affluent, the not so affluent. How do you feel about health care for those people?
Health care is something very, very dear to me. It is so important that everyone has access to health care. This is something that a lot of constituents that are in the lower income bracket, and as well as our seniors that are on a fixed income, that this is a major problem with. And we all know that if you have preventive health care, that helps in the long term for better health care in the future and as they get older. We have a lot of constituents that I'm very proud to say there are a lot of constituents that did come off of welfare, and they were proud to get a job that was maybe a little bit more than the basic salary, minimum wage. However, benefits didn't come with it. So what good is it if this person no longer has access to Medicaid or Medicare? They're trying to do their best to be independent off of welfare, and they don't have access to any kind of health benefits. Because time that baby or that woman gets sick, she's going to have to quit that job as well as then stay home with that child. There goes the bills, then bills pile up, then she's back in the same position going to the state for help. If the state is going to help, let's help all the way around the board. Helping with their education, some type of vocational training, helping with, if they're off of welfare, some type of a medical plan benefit and dental for people in certain income brackets that can help them all the way. Because, you know, if you don't have good health, you don't have anything.
That's for sure, PM. And, you know, when we talk about getting people off of welfare, when we put them on $6 an hour jobs and things like this, it brings their pride up.
Yes.
But you can't live on just pride. When your baby's sick, when your husband's sick, when your wife is sick, then you know that you must have something to reach out and help.
Absolutely.
So when we went with these programs, yes, pride is coming up. So if this pride is going to continue to increase, we must have systems of health care where those in need health care can reach out and get it.
Absolutely. And this is dear to me because I'm not saying it just because I know. I speak from experience. There was a time in my life I needed welfare. And I'm not ashamed to say that. I thank God that it was available many years ago when Heck was a pup, mind you. However, it was there and it did what it needed to give me that edge. And once I got that edge, I'm just speaking from experience that if you get sick or your child gets sick and you don't have any benefits, you can't go to the doctor, or then by the time you do go to the doctor, your ailment is critical. And the bills will be 10 times the volume. And so there goes the self-esteem that was built up in you to get off the system in the first place. And then you're sending your child to school, you're doing your own little home remedies, and then sending the child on off to school. If your child still is sick and he goes to school, this isn't going to be good for the other kids. So we need to make this work all the way around. It's a good program, I think, to help get people off of welfare, but let's make it where they can get off and stay off. And health care is one of the main factors that we have to work on. And let us not forget our seniors. There are a lot of seniors that are on fixed incomes.
Yes.
And some have high blood pressure medicine or diabetes medicine that is really almost $200-300 a month. Now, how can they budget if their little disability check is only about $700 or $800 and $300-400 of it is going to medicine?
Yes.
We've got to change that. It's not doing us any good for them to be on any type of disability or stay at home. I mean, I can't see them getting better when every month they got to take $200 or $300 of their little money that they have coming in to pay for medicine. We've got to do something and do it now.
Amen. Yeah, I'm sorry we're not on your gospel show. I'm not supposed to be saying amen and all that stuff, but that's true. PM.
Very true.
PM, you know, we still haven't talked about a thing that I know is dear to your heart, and that's women's rights. I know where you stand, but I want to make sure all of our audience knows where you stand on this.
Absolutely. Oftentimes, a women's point of view is really kind of taken for granted. And I am very, very particular about this issue because a woman has the right and the choice to make her own decisions. And you know, in this world and day and time, women run well over 70% of corporate America. Are you familiar?
Yes, I'm very familiar with that.
All right. And so it is very important. I've heard you, the voice of women in District 17, that feel like their opinion doesn't matter, but it does matter. In the political arena, definitely it matters. Women are the ones that nurture the children, instill the values. It all begins with the woman and at the home. And therefore, what we think is very important for keeping the community sound and rooted and not forgetting all the things that are important. Most importantly, I believe whatever decisions are going on in this world today, if it concerns women, that woman has the right to make a decision for her life. Anything that affects her life, financially, emotionally, physically, we can think for ourselves. And so we have the right to make decisions for ourselves. You know, that's something, any type of decision that affects your life, once you discuss it with your loved ones, that's the extent of it. That's all that you need to do is discuss it with your loved ones and whose life it will affect. And that woman has the right to choose and make a choice for what is best for her life. Because what one might think is right for me, I might not feel it's right for me, because I only live in this body and have this mind. So it's impossible for someone else to tell me what they think is best for me once I've thought through a situation. So we've got to be more open-minded and know that women can make very good choices, and any choice that is for them, a woman has already thought about the pros and cons of what that choice is. And anything, that's life, period. You decide on what you want to do and how you want to do it, and you look at what is good about it and what's bad about it, and can you live with the consequences of any choice you make. Businessmen make it every day. Let's look at Enron's. They certainly made some choices, and they weren't the right choices, and they're paying the price for it now. So I just use that as a little example to show, so when it comes to women and their thoughts and ideas and what they want to do and what they feel, that is their right.
They're right, and you are exactly correct, except you said business men. Now,
and women.
Like you said before, corporate America is comprised of 70% almost females. So
absolutely.
When we talk about this, we have great minds. So when we talk about male or female, it doesn't, you know, we can't say because a woman shouldn't make that decision or whatever.
Exactly.
Exactly. They make that decision.
If we can make decisions in the corporate world, certainly we can make sounded decisions in our personal lives as well as the business world, because women, as you keep echoing and I mentioned, are well over 70% in leadership role across this nation. And women, actually, we know we're truly still the backbone, so.
Well, what we're trying to say is women are not equal to men. They are, in fact, 70% to 30% there a wee bit better, would you say that? No,
Well,
just
now,
teasing. No.
when you think about it and put it that way, it makes a strong statement for itself. The figures speak for themselves. I'm just basically saying we can't have it both ways. Without a doubt, around the world, over 70% women are making decisions in this world that we live in today. And I mean financial decisions, corporate decisions on how something is starting from the bottom up, the beginning, the foundation of organizations. And so therefore, women have that same kind of input in their own lives and in personal decisions that they want to make for their family and for their loved ones. When you think about it, Fred, anything major that goes on at home, who really makes that decision?
My wife does.
Well, now, thank you. That's what I'm saying.
I just wanted to tell you the truth. My wife does.
Absolutely.
Charlie makes decisions at my home. You know, I can sit up and say I do, but I know better, you know. As soon, men, as you make a decision, that who makes the decision, you'll have a much happier life. Just teasing a little, guys. But let me wrap this up in saying, PM, you're for education, you're for public schools entirely. You would like to see better public schools,
Absolutely.
better CSAPs. When we talk about transportation, you not only want to see our highway system improved, you would like to see other types of transportation.
Absolutely.
So we'd have a better system. Women's rights, she was pretty clear on that, and that we should stand for equality for all people, as we as Democrats do. And health care, we would like to see more done for our senior citizens and for those people that can't afford medical care. You're one of the greatest candidates that I've seen in 17, so I know you'll get out. I know the people in House District 17 will get out and make sure you're elected. Now, I know you need people to aid and assist you. So do you have a phone number where people could give you a call if they would like to call you and
Absolutely.
help in your campaign?
Absolutely. I'm looking for you. Yes, you, the person that thinks there's nothing that I can do. There is something that you can do. Number one, make sure that you're registered to vote. We're going to aggressively and actively look for those of you that you've been disenchanted. We need your vote. The last election year, the presidential race, it showed just how important every vote counts. So that means you sitting out there on the couch that think that your vote and you do not count, because my friend, you do count. I can be reached at 633-3543. We are looking for volunteers. We will, all across the city, you're going to see us actively registering people to vote. The people that think that they have been forgotten. You haven't been forgotten, my friend, and that's why this campaign is about leadership from the bottom up.
What was that phone number again?
633-3543. And if you can't reach me personally, you can always call the Democrat headquarters, and they'll give you the same information. We'd like to know your ideas and opinions, and the party is going to be checking with you to find out what you think. When they call you, when they send you something in the mail, don't just put it aside, because we really want to know what you think. Everybody, low income, women's right, middle class, the small businessman, everybody's opinion and vote matters to the Democrat Party. That's why it's the party for all people, because we hold the basket that holds everyone. Those that are not wanted, the Democrat Party has always represented all the people, all the time, and we're not going to fail you now.
Ooh, you are dynamite. I really love that. I tell you what, if I could make those speeches like you do, I would really be excited about this. But I tell you what, PM, we're so proud of you. We in the Democratic Party would like to see you elected, and you will be elected. So anything we can do for you, El Paso County, have a good day, and we will see you next week. Thank you, PM.
Thank you, Fred.